Good morning. It's Friday, July 28th, and I have made a major discovery. I have been very careless about the amounts of money that I have kept in my bank accounts. Not with respect to not knowing what's there, because I know what's there all the time, but with respect to the money that I am being paid by the bank. That's called interest. And so I hear this morning that there's been another raise in the interest rates to combat inflation. Now, I have to tell you, I really haven't been affected by inflation. I haven't been going anyplace. I don't shop for tons of people, so I'm not spending a lot of money in that area. But it triggered a thing in my mind that I should look and see the kind of interest rates that I am collecting from my bank accounts. Because they're talking about this interest rate now being at 5%. And I look at some bank accounts and they're saying they're paying 5%. So I said, gee, I don't pay attention to that. Maybe that's because I'm stupid or I'm just careless. So I go looking at my bank accounts. And I have bank accounts in 3 of the major accounts in New York. It's Citibank, Bank of America, and Chase, right? And I look at a bank account that has a reasonable amount of money and I find out that I got 2 cents in interest last quarter. Now, 2 cents in interest is below 0.001. I don't even know what the number is. It's a horrible, horrible situation. But yet they're promoting on all of these ads and everything 5%. You could get 5%. And this bank is giving 5% and that bank is giving 5%. But they're not giving bank interest to people with regular accounts. They're not giving it to you on your regular checking account or your regular savings account. On those accounts, you're getting ripped off. You're getting less than 1%, less than 0.5%. And I'm glad that I was able to do this research this morning with the help of my daughter-in-law and my son, because they listened to my fantastic tales, you see. So in any event, I look through my bank accounts and I am getting ripped off. And I'm going to take the next step. And the next step is to go down to the bank and talk to somebody there about re-qualifying my bank account so I get a reasonable interest rate. Now, I'm not talking about bank accounts that have a couple of $100 in them. These bank accounts have a decent amount of money, right? I'm not a very wealthy man, but it has a decent amount of money, and I live off the money that comes in there from my various contributors like Social Security and pension and stuff like that. So I would like to be able to increase my bank interest rate to the bank interest rate that all these other banks are bragging about giving to people. Why shouldn't I get 4 or 5%? There's no real reason why I am being denied that privilege. And nobody at the bank has called me up and said, you could get a higher interest rate for your money. They have ignored that. They have ignored the personal banking relationship that all of these banks contend that they have. So why am I telling you all this fairy tale of sorts, this sorry story of somebody who hasn't been paying attention to what's happening with his money? I'm telling you because I believe many of you are out there in the same universe that I am in, that you haven't really paid attention to your bank accounts. And so I am alerting you to go check the interest rates, because it's pathetic. It's pathetic when you've got a couple $1,000s in the bank and your quarterly payment is 2 cents. I mean, the bank should be ashamed of that. They have a interest rate, and if we don't get a certain amount of money, at least they could give me $1. Would it hurt them to say, give the guy $1, minimum interest payment, it will always be $1? It's an insult to get a 2 cent bank interest. Why even waste the time to tell me that I got 2 cents? But 2 cents was the worst. One of the other accounts at least gave me 32 cents, we are talking about people who are getting ripped off all around this nation, even though Powell gets on and says, I got to fight inflation, I'm raising the interest rates. That doesn't mean shit to us, the ordinary people. That raise in interest rates only affects the loans that the large companies and corporations are borrowing money against. The people who are collecting money from us and saving it are not giving us a fair shake. And I'll tell you something. I looked at the interest rates on mortgages, 8.5%, right? And student loans, mortgage. Think about what people are getting ripped off on student loans when they have to pay 20% interest rates in some cases. It's a shanda. You know what a shanda is? I know all of you out there know what a shanda is. In any event, it's a terrible situation. So while they proudly proclaim that interest rates are now 5%, they're not. They're barely 0.5%. You're lucky if you're getting 0.5% for your bank. So I urge you all to go to your banks and look at your statements and check and see what you're getting. Because if you're getting what I'm getting, then you should take every statement that you get from these banks and use it as toilet paper. I know it will be a little rough on you, but that's the way you should be doing. And I'm telling you, if you try to flush toilet paper, it goes down. But if you flush bank statements, you're going to have a big plumbing problem. So in any event, ignore that. But go and check your bank account. See the interest rates that you're getting. See if you got a good deal. Because most of us don't have a good deal. Now, there are smaller banks that are honorable, and they are giving 5%. But you got to hunt them down. Because they're not out there advertising that much. And I don't have a list of the names of those banks that are there. But if you go out and check on the internet and see, let me see all the banks that are giving me 5% interest on my regular bank account or something like that. Not talking CDs. CDs are a different animal. You can get 4.5%, 5% almost regularly on your CDs. And I know many of you out there put their money into CDs. But CDs are short-term investments, and you got to keep watching them, and you got to keep changing them. You got to keep renewing them. So I don't know if I'm equipped to do that regularly, because I'm always on this voice talking to you about things. But I was looking for a subject today that would affect all of us, and I think that the bank interest rates is affecting everybody in this country, and I think that 99% of the people are being affected negative. So that's my 2 cents for today, because that's the amount of interest I got on one of my bank accounts. And I will leave you with that. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the morning. Bye.